Hi, I'm Harper and I love to cook. I've been encouraged by some of my friends to either share my recipes online or make YouTube videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and try YouTube today. This is my first video, so just be patient with me. But today we're gonna make avocado BLTs, but we're not gonna be using mayo. Okay, to start off, I'm gonna go over just the list of ingredients and things that I'm gonna use today. I have a French baguette. I'm gonna be using butter today. I've got avocado. I have a couple Roma tomatoes, and I'm gonna use extra thick cut, center cut bacon. And then I also am going to make some French fries out of a russet potato. The first step is that I'm going to heat up my stainless steel pan. I just prefer stainless steel for everything because I'm trying to avoid any kind of Teflon. So heat up your stainless steel pan. I like to do it to about medium high, which on mine is about a 4 to a 6. I'm gonna heat this up for a little while before I put anything in it, just so that it is ready to go. And then I'm gonna put a pack of bacon inside of it. I'm not gonna use the entire pack of bacon for just this meal, but I will use the bacon for leftovers tomorrow. So I'm gonna go ahead and just layer the bacon inside the pan, and I will show you what it looks like when I'm done. But I'm gonna take this entire pack of bacon and put it inside of the pan. So this is what my bacon looks like inside of the pan. You might notice that some of the bacon is layered on top of each other. That's fine with me because I actually enjoy when the bacon is different consistencies, where some of it is extra crispy and some of it is just a little bit crispy. But if you want a consistent cooking throughout the bacon, then I would go ahead and bake this on a sheet pan in the oven. Some people prefer bacon that way, and I just prefer it this way. Now it is time to chop the potato to make the French fries. It's up to you if you would like to peel the skin off the potato or if you want to leave it on. Today I'm going to leave the skin on because usually I peel it, and so I just want something a little different today. So I'm going to leave the skin on the potato and chop it into French fry-like pieces. Just for reference here, I have sliced up my potato to start into pieces like this. Obviously I've got a bad spot here, so I'm gonna just slice that part off, but I've sliced them into maybe about a 1/2 or a 1/4 inch slices. And then now I'm gonna slice them into French fry pieces after slicing off any bad parts. Okay. So I've got all of my potato pieces ready to go. Now my French fries are gonna get sliced. So I've sliced up part of it, and it should look like something like this. So my French fries are looking like French fries, and you can see the skin on part of them depending on which piece of the potato it is. Some of them will look like this. And then you can just go ahead and chop up the rest of them. For me, it's about 4 pieces that come from each of those original potato slices. I'm gonna go ahead and put my French fries, or the potatoes, in a bowl that will turn into a French fries eventually, and set those aside for now. I'm gonna be using the bacon grease and some butter to cook them in a little bit. Now I'm gonna go ahead and work with my tomatoes. So with the tomatoes, I'm gonna do the same thing and wash them. Just to make sure that they're clean, and then I'm gonna go ahead and slice them into pieces that will eventually go on my BLT. So before I get started chopping, some of the bacon does need to be flipped, so I'm gonna flip and then chop. I like to chop the ends off first and then chop the rest of the tomato. Now I'm left with what looks like this for my tomatoes here. So I've got a good few tomatoes to go on this BLT. I might not use all of them, but I've got enough here so that I've got plenty. If I don't use these, then I will save some of them for tomorrow's BLT that I'll be making for lunch. Okay, so my bacon is fully cooked and it looks like this. Obviously, some of it's really crispy and some of it's just a little bit crispy. So again, it just depends on how you like it. Some of you might consider this burned, but for me, this is how I like it because I like it really crunchy, and I also like to make sure that it is actually fully cooked. So there's different levels to how cooked it is in here. Like some of this will be a little bit fatty and tender, and then some of this will be like pretty crispy in the sandwich. For breakfast bacon, if I'm just having it as a side, I cook it a little bit less than this, but in a BLT, I really do want that crunch. So this is what my pan looks like right now. I'm gonna save this bacon grease in a bowl, and then I'm going to clean the pan off, and then I'm gonna use it for the French fries. Okay, so I cleaned my pan out and then I dumped the grease back into the pan, and that's what I'm going to start frying my fries in. I'm also gonna put a little bit of butter in here as well, about 2 tablespoons, to help with the frying process. I'm gonna let my butter melt in here with the bacon grease, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my potatoes in. I've got my burner here set at about medium high. Okay, so my butter and my bacon looks like this, and so I'm gonna go ahead and put my potato slices in here and let them start frying. I'm gonna get them like in an even layer. You're wondering why butter and bacon grease, because obviously that doesn't sound very healthy. Not that this meal is something that's supposed to be very healthy. This is a Sunday afternoon meal. I only ate one meal today, so this is like not supposed to be the healthiest meal. But what I will say is I don't like to fry things in fake seed oils if I can avoid it. So if I can use animal fats to fry, I'm going to. So if I'm gonna fry, then I'm going to be using butter, or I'm going to be using leftover bacon grease, whatever I can use to be frying that isn't like canola oil or vegetable oil or soybean oil. And if you want to look into the reasons for that on your own, you can. But I personally don't want to be using seed oils to fry. Okay, I put my tomatoes to the side here, and I'm going to chop the avocado. I'm just going to cut this in half. That's how I generally do it, and kind of move my knife around it. And then I really actually have no process for this. I kind of just squeeze out the avocado and then slice the pieces that I have here. I don't do anything special. And then I kind of just squeeze out the pit as well, which sometimes it rolls. So we're looking at something like this. And then I just slice these pieces up. This is gonna spread on more because avocado is pretty ripe, so it's gonna be less of like pieces of avocado and more like a spread of avocado. And I'm gonna take out any little brown pieces that I see in here, because I do see a couple, but not too bad. And then I'll be using that in a couple. Waiting for the French fries to cook, I've grated a little bit of Parmesan finely, and I'm gonna put that on the French fries to kind of make them like cheesy potatoes. And that's gonna be really delicious. My French fries are about done. I've been flipping them a little bit here. And this is about how crispy I want them. I might let them go a little bit longer because I would prefer all the sides to be kind of crispy like this, but they're about ready to go. And once these are done, then I'm gonna actually start assembling the BLT, and I'll be almost completely finished with this meal. So my French fries are about ready, so I'm gonna pull them out and then stick them in this bowl, and then put the Parmesan in there with some salt and a tiny bit of pepper. Okay, so I've got my French fries here, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some of the Parmesan on here. I do like my stuff cheesy, so I'm gonna put a bunch of Parmesan, but you could do however much you want. And kind of just like mix it around and then let it melt. And then I'm gonna put some salt and pepper in here as well. I'm using pink Himalayan sea salt. I usually don't get Morton's, but this was all that they had. So I'm gonna put some of the pink Himalayan sea salt in. And this is what I have here. I'm gonna go ahead and plate my French fries now and stick them. Okay, I have a whole baguette here. I'm not gonna use even close to this. I might use like a third or a fourth of the baguette. So I think about here is what I'm looking at. That's even a little too much right here. Probably about a third. So I'm gonna slice that. And then this isn't a bread knife, so I'm gonna go ahead and get a bread knife so that I can slice it in half. If you're not familiar, a bread knife is a serrated knife. It just makes it a lot easier to slice your bread. I'm gonna put the flat side down so that I don't slice myself, and then slice through the curved end here. Now you should have something that looks like this, and you can either assemble it from here or you can toast it up. I'm gonna toast this up for a couple of minutes in the oven. I'm just gonna turn my oven on to 350 and stick these right on the top. It doesn't matter that your oven's not gonna be actually at 350, it's gonna toast up, and then just give it a couple minutes and leave it to whatever you like it like. So if you like it a little bit more crispy, then you can leave it in there for longer, but I like mine just kind of warm. So I took my baguette out of the oven. It's now kind of soft because it's been warmed up, and I'm going to assemble the BLT. The first thing that I'm going to do is put the avocado layer on because that is kind of going to serve as like what the mayo would serve as otherwise. So I'm gonna take my avocado and spread it. It's up to you if you wanna do it on the bottom or the top. I'm gonna do it on the top. So I've got a layer like this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and stack my tomatoes. I'm gonna do that on the top as well, on top of the avocado, so they hopefully stick. I'm gonna do like a layer and a half of tomatoes, so I'm gonna have some left over. For the lettuce, I'm using Organic Girl romaine. So I'm just gonna pull these out. Thankfully, these are already washed, so I don't need to wash them. But I'm just gonna pull a few of these pieces out and stick them on the bottom. I'm gonna rip off the very bottom of them so they stick on the sandwich. And I'm not gonna do more than 2 because then my sandwich is gonna get way too stacked and that's gonna fall apart. So from here, I've got my bacon, and the reason that I let my bacon sit for a little while was because I wanted it to cool down, because this sandwich is a cold sandwich. It's not really a hot sandwich, if anything warm, but I didn't want it hot, so I've let my bacon cool, so it is gonna be crispy on here. I'm gonna take a few pieces, maybe, let's say 4, and stack those. And then I'm gonna kind of crunch them down. So I'll have to flip the top onto the bottom here with the lettuce. I do have some pieces trying to fall out here. This is the struggle with the BLT, is that the pieces do not like to all stay together. But I'm gonna try and crunch it down to keep it as together as possible. Some of the avocado is trying to sneak out here. But this is what my sandwich looks like when I am done, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like plated here, but both of these things look delicious and I'm so excited. Okay, so this is what we are working with plated. So as you can see, I've got my French fries here and then my BLT. Just a quick note about the bacon grease and the butter concoction that I have here. I'm gonna be saving this oil to cook in later this week because I'm gonna be making French fries again. It is up to you if you decide to save the grease or not, but if you are trying to save the grease to cook with, you can keep it in the fridge for a couple months at most, I would say, and I would put it in a mason jar with an airtight lid. If you're gonna use it in a few months and not in the week or the next few days, then I would definitely strain it out. But because I'm gonna be using it literally this week, I don't mind if there's like the bacon pieces in there. So I'm just going to leave it and not strain it. But you could strain it if you wanted it to be like a little bit more clean for cooking. Okay, thanks for coming with me to make the BLT. It looks really good and I'm very excited. This took me about an hour and a half, but that's also because I was videoing and trying to get content for both Reels and for YouTube. So normally a meal like this probably would take me about 45 minutes to make. This is a great weeknight dinner, or this is a good meal that you could have for a lunch on a weekend. So for me, I'm eating this around like 5:30, so it's kind of more like a lunch dinner-ish meal in lieu of dinner, or in lieu of lunch, because I didn't have lunch today. But this is really delicious. You can make these fries with any meal. They would go really well with a burger. You could add more to them if you wanted to. I've seen people put truffle oil on these fries, this kind of fry before. And then just follow along for more recipes. I create most recipes out of just my own head. So if you're looking to learn to cook in a practical way and kind of make things more from scratch, then this is a great journey for you to follow along with. And thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again on the next one.